Okay, Emmy fans, who's going to be nominated on July 28th? Who's going to end up winning? I'm not so sure I know, but I think these guys do. I want you to meet Libby Hill from Indiewire, Pete Hammond from Deadline Hollywood, Tim Gray from Variety, and I'm Tom O'Neill. Libby, let's go to you. Comedy series is a real drama. We've got defending champ from 2 years ago, Mrs. Maisel, up against Schitt's Creek in its final season. For the most part, those seem to be the two front runners based on Gold Derby's predictions. What say you?
I honestly have no idea. Like
well, then
if I can just be very straightforward. My heart still, I have to go with my gut on this, and I still think it's Maisel. Last year, Maisel got overshadowed by kind of stablemate Fleabag. But the most important thing was that Maisel actually did exactly as well as it did in its first season, in its second season. And I see no reason it shouldn't continue doing that in season 3. It took home 8 Emmys last year. Schitt's Creek, I understand intellectually its ascendancy in people's minds, but I haven't seen things bear fruit from that. I think we might be overhyping it a little bit. And I'm not sure... I'm not entirely sure where that's coming from and if it actually has roots in anything meaningful.
Pete, let me kind of interpret what I think Libby just meant by that, which is we in this prognostication arena are really watching these shows carefully, and we know that Schitt's Creek has this great buzz among ourselves, but there isn't the industry interactivity now at parties and people, oh, have you seen Schitt's Creek and the rest of it? I'm not so sure, to be very skeptical here, that everybody has seen Schitt's Creek. I'm not so sure that they've certainly may have faced issues seeing season 6, its final, because only the first 5 are on Netflix. So what do you say about this face-off? Are the experts who are saying Schitt's Creek overestimating it, or are we underestimating Maisel, or the reverse?
No, I think it's the same situation that happened with Breaking Bad the minute it hit Netflix. It may not have been seen as widely, but once it hit Netflix, a whole new world opened up for it. Same thing has happened with Schitt's Creek, which was nowhere in the Emmys until it hit Netflix. And now it's on Pop TV. They may not know what Pop TV is, but they know what Netflix is. Netflix has been a way to see some of these shows and bring them late-breaking attention in the industry. There's some 24,000 voting members. I'm one in the Television Academy, and I think they've had a lot more time right now. That's the one great thing about the Emmys this year. You've got more viewers and more viewing options than ever before here, and more time to watch them. And I think they've heard enough about Schitt's Creek, and they have the ability to see it, of course, with all the FYC things we get every day, to see what a great show that is. And it's beloved. I mean, when you have Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, it's a very smart comedy. Maisel had its day, certainly the first season. It just came out of the box. It was huge. Faded a little bit in the second season in terms of Emmys. And now, this year it had a fun season. I'm not sure it was right up to the standard of that first season and the way it was. Maybe it's, something that is just going along now, and people have gotten used to it. It doesn't have that fresh thing. Anyway, of those two. However, let me put in my vote also for Curb Your Enthusiasm. Never won. I still think that's a great show. A great show, and maybe the time has come for something else here, since people have had time to watch a lot of different shows.
And Tim, now that we have 8 nominees in this category, you need fewer votes to win. If you're one of them, that may change the mathematics here, assuming these shows get in that we're talking about as nominees. Size up the category for us.
I mean, I think with this category, with every category, it's like there's too many good options. I mean, even when they expanded to 8, when I go to Gold Derby and make my predictions, as all the viewers should do, it's like, okay, I've got things for 8 slots, but it's like I have at least 4 others that are really good, and I couldn't go wrong. Like Mrs. Maisel, I think, again, you can't go wrong with that show. It's really good, and if it wins, I don't think anybody will be angry. But I personally kind of think Schitt's Creek, because the first 2 seasons kind of started slow, and then it took a quantum leap, and this past season was its best, and that doesn't usually happen with shows. They usually end when they're kind of winding down, but it was really strong. Again, I have no idea what's going to happen, because I feel like COVID has changed all the rules for everything, including Emmy voting.
Yeah, it has. So, Libby, the 2 stars of Schitt's Creek, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, are like 5,000 miles ahead of all the competitors at Gold Derby in terms of the odds and rankings now. I cannot personally imagine Catherine O'Hara losing. I just cannot. Eugene Levy may I think his role isn't that expressive in terms of her big showboating role. So those 2 lead acting races, what do you think?
I'm actually reversed on this, Tom. I think Eugene Levy, I think he's in a weaker category, honestly.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think Catherine is facing stiffer competition in that category. I think it's hard to discount Brosnahan at this point. Like, nothing has changed about her performance that would make her not Emmy worthy. And I think, and let me say this honestly, I might be overcorrecting for Maisel, because I was so sure it would slump a little at the Emmys in its second season, but it didn't really, not significantly. COVID obviously throws all of that off, and I can see, I think it makes sense to predict a Catherine O'Hara win. I can see absolutely why it would happen. They're both so beloved within the community, O'Hara and Levy. It really just depends how into Schitt's Creek.
So who's their toughest competition?
I mean, I think it's Brosnahan in Comedy Actress, and maybe Applegate, because I think she's another really beloved person.
She's
from Dead to Me in Netflix. And then Levy, I think, is showing his toughest competition is another beloved Hollywood figure in Ted Danson. I think if Good Place is going to get significant traction this year, it makes the most sense that they get it for Danson. But I don't know if that's happening. So yeah, that's what those categories look like to me. But I don't know how the rest of you feel.
Mr. Hammond, what say you?
Well, I don't know. The Good Place I've never gotten. So you know what? I don't watch it. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think the comedy categories are nearly as competitive and exciting as they have been in the past, when you had the likes of Veep and you had, the flavor of the moment in Fleabag. The Academy members, to me, seem like they are going in a different direction. Fleabag really indicated that. Yeah. They caught on to that after ignoring it for its first season, which was only 6 episodes, and then really just giving it everything in the second one. It indicates to me this is not your father's television academy, and so I do see Schitt's Creek as the one to beat right now.
Sweep all 3 categories?
I think so. I think, look, the actors branch is the biggest one. I was a governor of the Television Academy for 6 years in the writers branch, and I can tell you, I think it's a strong contender for comedy writing right now. The only other script, personally, that I love is Mythic Quest. That one they did virtually with the whole cast, I thought was just the single most brilliant piece of writing I've seen on television this year. But that aside, I think Schitt's Creek is going to have a real shot in many categories, multiple categories. And, ultimately that could add up, especially if you've got strong support in writing, maybe directing, and certainly acting. That's a big chunk of your voting Academy members, but there's so many. We have 24,000, 25,000 members now, so who can vote?
But Tim, Joy Sang just told me, our colleague, that, and I'm probably quoting her wrong, but I think she said only 3 or 4 shows in TV history have won all 3 awards. I think maybe on the comedy side, comedy series actor and actress. So if what we're saying here is that, it's Schitt's Creek for Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara and Schitt's Creek, it happens so rarely in TV history. Is it really going to happen again?
I wish I knew. You said at the intro. It's like,
well, we're supposed to pretend to know, Tim.
Come on, Tim. Tim, you know these things.
Oh yeah, I know, but I can't tell you guys. No, because I think, again, if you look at Emmy history, I mean, because of Jackie Gleason, as
Never won
an Emmy.
Never won an Emmy, and you think, well, that's a classic TV portrayal. So it's very arbitrary, and as you know, it's secret ballot. Something could win by one vote. I mean, it could be that close. So, but again, I think all the rules are out. So I think it's entirely possible with Schitt's Creek. First off, because Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, people have loved them since SCTV in the 70s. I mean, they've been around and all that, but it would not be a gift, like a career gift to give them awards. It's like they're really amazing, and they always surprise me in every episode. And the show, again, it seemed to build in emotion and smartness as well as being funnier. So I would be very happy if it won top 3. But again, it's not a given. We're living in a COVID era. Everything surprises me these days.
Let me clarify the reason that Jackie Gleason never won, because remember his co-star Art Carney won, I think 5, right? Is and it's the Judy Garland syndrome at the Oscars, and that sometimes these were people with bad behavior on the set, right? And it caught up to them, and Jackie Gleason was an impossible character to deal with on that side of the camera. And so it sometimes impacts. That's just my little history lesson there. Libby, we have I'm looking at my list here for the supporting races. Supporting actor. Alex Borstein has swept this right in the last couple of years, and we've got people like Jane Lynch, who had such a great diva cameo, or not even cameo, supporting role on Maisel. And then we've got the Schitt's Creek ladies. We've got both Annie Murphy and Emily Hampshire, who I think is very underrated in most predictions. I think she's the strongly empathetic female supporting role on Schitt's Creek. And then there are some others. What's your take on that race? Supporting actress, I should be saying. I said actor. Supporting actress.
Supporting actress. Again, I think the heat stays with Maisel. I understand the chatter around the supporting characters from Schitt's Creek, Emily Hampshire and Annie Murphy. They are great. Maisel has such a stranglehold on these acting races, both in supporting and in guest. I don't see that changing until I see nominations that suggest otherwise. I just think at this point, that's the safe money. The safe money is on Maisel holds the category. And while I love Jane Lynch, I still think it's Borstein's to lose.
Oh, Jane Lynch, that character, actors vote for actors, writers vote for writers. Actors are voting here. She's hilarious. They love Jane Lynch. She's won several times before. The thing with Emmys in supporting categories, they tend to repeat and repeat. Peter Dinklage, 4 times and all of that. So you may be right with Alex Borstein, but I do think Jane Lynch playing this actor.
Yeah, this diva actress. Yeah. A Catherine O'Hara equivalent for Maisel.
Yeah, I think she's terrific in it.
And Tim, how do you size that up? Alex has won year after year. Kate McKenna, didn't she win a couple of times before that? I forgot to mention her. Supporting actress.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Libby and Pete have said, I totally agree with them. I think I've predicted Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek, but I'm not convinced that's a given. I also think like Betty Gilpin in Glow is
she keeps
great.
Getting nominated.
And also, this is really off the target, but Penelope Wilton in Afterlife, the Ricky Gervais comedy series. I don't know a lot of people who are watching that show, but I like it. And Penelope Wilton, who's on Downton Abbey, she's really, really good in that. So, but I think she's a long shot, but I'm just giving her a little shout out.
Actually, along, if I can jump in there, like along those same lines, Rita Moreno has been doing
she's
amazing
great.
work on One Day at a Time. And
Yeah.
I mean, if people are, if there is that push for Schitt's Creek, and people did figure out where Pop TV was to
Right,
watch
it's
the
the
final
same channel.
season of Schitt's Creek, it's entirely possible that they picked up One Day at a Time too. And by all means, get Rita Moreno in there because she more than deserves it.
Oh yeah,
for her
yeah. I'm
performance.
surprised she hasn't been up for One Day at a Time.
Absolutely. The same.
That seems odd. So the fact that she hasn't, I don't know that I have great faith that they're going to discover her this year. I wish they would, though.
Pete, let's go quickly to supporting actor here. Tony Shalhoub has won 105 of these for Maisel. Dan Levy, co-producer, co-creator of Schitt's Creek, and apparently from his father, Dan actually took the lead on, this was his idea apparently, and he sold it initially as a series. And then we've got people like Alan Arkin, Sterling K. Brown, etc. Mahershala Ali is in the running here. Size up this supporting actor race for us.
Tony Shalhoub, he's like Alex Borstein. He's a guy that they're comfortable with. He wins a lot. I don't know that he's the standout on that show this season, but Mahershala Ali is somebody I'd look for in Ramy. He's great, and it's his time. He's very visible now. They see the name, they'll seek him out if they've seen that show, which I think many of them have. So I would say watch out for him, but I would love to see Alan Arkin win here. And he's just so good. He's always good. He's never been bad in anything. And I don't know that he can win, but he's awfully good.
Oscar winner. Libby, let me jump over to you. This whole Dan Levy thing, you mentioned how outstanding season 6 is. It's all about his character and the wedding and the build of it. It was the big emotional payoff for the whole show, it turned out. And he is got the buzz right now. I mean, Dan Levy has enormous surge in a way you can almost say like Fleabag style last year in terms of a cool vote. Supporting actor, what happens?
That's entirely possible. I love Dan Levy. I think he's done great work. The interesting thing about Dan Levy is there's plenty of places on the ballot that voters can reward Dan Levy outside of supporting actor.
That's a good point.
So if they want to diversify what they're giving things to, which definitely wouldn't include giving Tony Shalhoub another award, but if they were looking to diversify and spread the love a little bit, there are plenty of great people to consider, including, not even leaving Mrs. Maisel, Sterling K. Brown's turn on the show.
Right.
They love Sterling K. Brown. Everyone loves Sterling K. Brown. But yeah, I agree with like Mahershala Ali. I think it's possible Louis Anderson gets back in. But also don't count out those guys from Saturday Night Live, I guess. Kenan Thompson's a great and consummate performer. But this category is, it's a mess, and I love it.
Final word to you on this whole comedy lineup, Tim. Comedy actor,
supporting actor. Again, Libby mentioned Sterling K. Brown, and I think awards voters always love to be surprised. And I think people know him from This Is Us. They know his other work, but I feel like Mrs. Maisel is like, this is a whole other side to him. So I think that works. But also to Pete's point, Mahershala Ali and Ramy, I'm totally addicted to. I kind of resisted the show at first because it's like I've seen a million sitcoms based on stand-up comics routines, and I just thought, oh no. But it's like I just am obsessed with that show. I love it, and I think it's really good. And Mahershala Ali is pretty great.
And we have to double back here before we exit out of comedy to say that Ramy Youssef is a major contender here to win Best Comedy Actor. He won the Golden Globe, and he gave Gold Derby the raspberries afterwards because we didn't predict him to win, and he's reminded us of that a few times. So we're not going to make the mistake of underestimating him again. Hulu is a big player here among the Emmy network contenders now. And Ramy, it speaks to diversity. It speaks to all kinds of great writing and a show that has broken through, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you all. Everybody watching, everybody's listening on the podcast version, go in and make your predictions. And if you disagree, have the nerve to disagree with us, make your predictions and prove us wrong. Go ahead, I dare you.